Hi everyone, this is Ilina and welcome to another LDRS creative card making video. Uh, for this video, I'm using the Yuletide Christmas product suite, and we'll be making 5 cards using the products. There's no stamping. They're ephemera, um, there's some ribbons, there's 6x6 paper pad. We'll go over the products now. So we have some the 6x6 paper pad. There is also 12x12 that I don't have it here, but there's a set of ribbons. There's some poinsettia ephemera. There's the 6x6 pack, the pack of tags, and there are other images, um, ephemera images. So here is the closer look at the papers. They're double-sided. They're 3 sheets of each design, and there's some of they're very kind of vintagey, and some of them also have gold foil. So we're going to use both the gold foil and the non-gold foil ones to create our cards today. So I have all the elements here. I put them in a little bowls so it's easier to get them out. So I'm starting the first card. I have a piece of pattern paper. And then I have the little tag with the birds. Next, I wanted to add a little bit more interest to my background because I'm using the music sheet one that's kind of cream colored. So I decided to use some of the ribbons. So the ribbons, there are 2 sheets in each pack. They're different, and also they come with applicator, which kind of looks like a popsicle stick. So I'm using that. You can also use a bone folder if you don't want to use the popsicle stick. So I'm just rubbing it, starting from one end, going to the other one. I'm not applying very firm. I'm applying firm but gentle pressure because I don't want to. If I press too hard, I don't want to damage the paper. So you'll notice when it starts spilling up, that's very easy to the backing. Not the backing, the top is very easy to remove. Just move it gently, lift it up gently, and you've noticed it's not lifting up, just rub some more. So then I decided I put my image there, and I thought that it will look nicer if I add another piece of ribbon. So I'm using the little holly to add on the opposite side of the poinsettia arrangement. So I'm rubbing it with that the applicator and kind of lifting it gently to make sure to just check if it's pulling off. So that pulled off pretty easily. So this is for the first card. Next, I'm cutting a piece of A2 of red cardstock. It kind of look I wanted to add because a little bit more contrast because our background is cream. So I thought the red I will add red on top of a top folded note card. So that's our first card. Now let's move to the second card. So I'm using another piece of pattern paper. I'm using the one that says that has the postcard sentiment on the bottom corner. So I will use that corner and I'll trim it down to 4 by 5 1/4. I did the same for the previous one, so that was 4 by 5 1/4, a little bit smaller than A2. I cut out the Joy to the World music um, sheet ribbons, and then also a sentiment from the ribbon set. So let's apply those to our background. Again, I'm using the ribbon applicator, and you can see there I'm lifting the corner and just checking if that is lifting up without the ribbon on it. So that went pretty quick and very easy. Now let's add the sentiment. I'm trying to make sure that it's positioned straight, so I use my tweezers, and I'm just rubbing on top of it to release that ribbon onto the paper. Next, I'm adding a poinsettia and a leaf to add a little bit more dimension. And I will use foam tape to add those to the background paper. So I'm not adhering everything together. Once I have decided for the design and arrangement of the cards, I'm setting the elements aside, and then we'll finish those at the end, kind of put them together. Just adding more foam tape on the single leaf, and adding it in the back of that flower. Setting that aside, let's move to the third card. So I'm using here one of the foil design of the pattern paper, and I will just use a strip. Also, I'm cutting a piece of white cardstock to A2 size, and then I'm cutting off a strip of about 2 inches by 5.5. So we'll have that pattern paper peek through on the side. So I'm trying to decide which side I want that pattern paper to go. So I want to go under the white panel, so I'm trimming off 1.5 inches, 1.5 to 1.75 inches of that A2 size white cardstock. Next, I'm trying to decide for which sentiment. I'm looking at the tags here, and I decided to cut a little red border to add between the. So what I'm doing here before I continue, it's when I was putting together the ends of the red cardstock, I wanted to make sure that it's same width on the top and the bottom, so it's nice and straight. So I wanted to add a little bit more contrast between the pattern paper and the white cardstock. That's why I cut that red strip. So I picked out one of the sentiments from the tags ephemera, and then I have the Santa, and we have the pattern paper. So I set this aside. We'll add everything together in just a little bit. So here I had another piece of A2 cardstock, white cardstock, and I trimmed from the bottom. I did like kind of non-symmetrical angle there, kind of design. And then under that piece there, I will add a piece of pattern paper. So I'm just measuring to make sure that when I put that one underneath, I'll have it all covered. It will look like that pattern paper covers everything under that kind of non-symmetrical piece of white cardstock. So you can do however you want it. I just eyeballed it. I didn't really need to do any measurements. And I really like this asymmetrical design when it comes to card making, especially when using pattern paper. So I'm making space there for sentiment. So I'm using one of the ribbons. I'm using the warm wishes. And I will add that one before I adhere everything together. I'm using again my the ribbon applicator that comes in the package. Okay, so that looks good. We have the poinsettia, we have the pattern paper, and the white piece of cardstock. Let's do one more card here. So I'm using this polka dot background. I'm trimming it down to 4 by 5.25. And I'm using one of the tags that says peace on earth and joy to all. And then I will use one of the poinsettia flowers, and I will cut it in half. So I will use both halves, one on each side, to add a little bit more interest. So this is the last card. This is the 5th card. You can see how easy these cards came together, and I was able to make 5 cards pretty quickly. So let's now adhere everything together. I'm starting from the last card. I'm adding those poinsettias in the corner, and next for the sentiment, I will use some foam tape to add a little bit dimension. I really like dimension when it comes to when I make my cards. Okay, next I will add more foam tape on the back here. And the pattern paper is pretty sturdy. It's very heavyweight pattern paper. Usually when I use pattern paper, I back it up with a piece of cardstock. But for this pattern paper, that's not needed. It's very nice heavyweight one. So for this one, I added directly to my top folded note card both the pattern paper and the non-symmetrical layer that we made there. I'm adding foam tape on the poinsettia, trimming off the excess on the side, and the second card is ready. Now let's move to the third card. I'm adding that strip of pattern paper, the gold foil one, to the side. On the other side, I'm adding the white piece of cardstock. I'm adding this little tab, and then on top I will add that red strip. Then I'm using some foam tape to add the joy banner, and I'm adding it on the top left corner. And then again with more foam tape, I will add the little Santa Claus. Removing the backing, adding that, and that completes our third card. So our fourth card, we already added the ribbons and the flowers, so we just need to add foam tape on the back, or you can adhere it directly to your note card, but I like dimension, so I like using foam tape. So that completes our fourth card, and for the fifth card, I'm adding that red A2 cardstock piece onto my note card, and then it's just adding foam tape back of my pattern paper panel. I'm adding liquid adhesive because it gives me a little bit more wiggle room when I add it to the cards, and that completes our 5 cards for today. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching this video. Um, don't forget to stop by our YouTube channel to subscribe and also visit our blog for more ideas and more inspiration. Thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day.